If you are returning to Money Mondays, thank you for returning. If you're new, welcome. Money Mondays is supposed to be a platform created for us, by us. So that means created for our minority community, especially children, for them to come to this platform and be inspired, be educated, and take life by the cojones, and change the dynamics, give us information. We want to give information to those children who don't have access to it, so that they can start the ball off wonderful. They don't have to have low credit. They can know exactly what they need to be doing with their finances and things of that nature. So let me go ahead and introduce my host and our guest of the show today. So we have Miss Rainisha, our lovely co-host, and we have Miss Genevieve Carvil-Harris. Woo! Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And if you guys follow my Instagram at all, you know that I called Miss Genevieve a powerhouse with the most amazing, I can't even talk, that's how great she is, amazing energy ever. And I just can't wait to get into it. Miss Genevieve, you are looking so beat today. Why is that?
Well, actually, let me tell you, right? So I actually started doing pageants a couple of years ago, and like in 2016. And so because I was doing pageants, I would have to pay the makeup artist a lot of money to do the different makeup for different pageants. And so I was like, you know what? I really need to invest, because I was getting ready to go to a pageant in Texas, and they wanted $400 for the week just in makeup alone. And I was like, who do you think I'll be paying $400 for? You see that face? Renisha's like, child, please. Am I taking the person with me? So I said, well, I need to learn. And so I learned how to do makeup. But what I realized, the makeup is that you have to practice every single day. And so literally, I look like this every single day just so that I don't forget.
Wow. Okay, I love that. Yeah, practice. Like, if you don't use it, you lose it, right?
I literally just do it every day, so that when I do have to go out or when I have to go somewhere, I know I'm going to be okay.
Awesome. So, Miss Genevieve, can you please give us a brief introduction of yourself and what it is that you do?
Okay, yeah, sure. So, hi everybody. Like she said, I'm Genevieve Carvil-Harris, and I refer to myself in many have as the world's favorite capacity building strategist. So, what that means is that I help individuals get from point A all the way to point Z, and actually give them strategy so that when they win, it can be sustainable. Because some people make plans, and some people just don't. And what happens is you get stuck and you feel like, I can't do it, and I don't know what to do. My mom didn't do it, my dad didn't do it. And so I'm that person that sees the idea and says, how do we make you profitable? How do we make this make money? Because you can have great ideas and still be broke, right? So how do we take this great idea and turn it into money? And so that's what I've been able to do, and I've been able to help individuals who just had an idea actually get their first 5-figure month, 6-figure year, or 7-figure year. So I've just been really excited in helping others. So I'm glad to be here.
Yes, awesome. And so, like you said, you take people from point A all the way to point Z. So you literally hold their hand and show them. How did you get started doing capacity building?
Okay, well, honestly, I planned on law school. So I was planning on being a lawyer. I was going to be Mrs. Johnny Cochran, even though I didn't want to marry him. I just was going to be the female version. And so I had just determined that I wanted people to be able to listen to me and know and be able to trust my expertise. And what I found was that a lot of the change agents and people that were really making moves were all lawyers. So I said, that's what I need to do. I need to go to law school. And so I went to the University of Miami one time for the hurricanes.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. My alma mater.
Yeah. Okay, sister. Yes. So I went to the University of Miami. I graduated in 3 years so that I could go to law school earlier. So here I am, 21 years old, in law school, and I get there and I'm thinking to myself, I hate it here. What am I doing? And I had to make a decision. And so I went to my dean. I asked my dean if I could take a year off And she said, yeah, sure, you can take a year off, let us know next year how you feel about it. And I actually went to a community developers conference, and I didn't even know I was at a community developers conference, sat in some grant classes, got inspired, and said, I think this is what it is that I need to do. And so I started doing community development, wrote my first grant. It was over $200,000. And I said, this is what I want to do. I want to make an impact in my community and just be able to go on to the next. I don't want to be in one place where I'm stuck in like a jail. I want my impact to spread further. So that's how I got into capacity building, and I have not left. I left law school in 2010, and we're in 2020, so I haven't looked back.
Okay, so we have that part in common. I did also graduate from University of Miami, and funny enough, I was trying to go to law school, but I didn't make it as far as you. So what is it about law school that was like, no?
Some people have asked me, like, did I think that it was too hard? Or did I think that I wasn't going to be able to do well? I'll actually share something with you guys too. Like, I was engaged going into law school, and like the weekend before law school started, like my ex was like, I just don't think this is going to work out. Right? He was in pharmacy school, and I was getting ready for law school. He was like, I don't think this is going to work out. And so I was a little bit emotional, but I was still, moving past, thinking maybe, this is a whole new world like Aladdin. I'm just going to go ahead and get on my magic carpet and just fly into, a boss lady lane. And when I started going through my law school classes and everything, what I realized, and it's something that's so big to me, like to share with others, what I realized is that I did not want the life of my professors. And your professors are the people who are modeling what you can be. And I didn't like what I was seeing. One of my professors, the mere fact that they are a professor means that they're not completely practicing law full time, right? They're making supplemental money and most of their salary from teaching in academia, which means that they are not practicing law, which is what you go to law school for. Right. Like the prize that I was finding between all of the lawyers that I knew was that they were able to go into another field, like maybe be a politician and get their salaries, or go and run for any sort of office that's not necessarily just on a state level, but maybe like nationally, and be able to serve in Congress and everything. And I was like, but that's not what I'm going to law school for. Like, I want to go to law school to make an impact on the lives of the individuals that are in my community, right? Like actually serving my community. And I would find that people who were like, criminal defense attorneys, or even those that were prosecutorial in what they did, what would happen is that they would be tired all the time. They would have no energy. They weren't really spending time with their families, if they even had time to build a family. They weren't really able to do anything. They were overworked, underpaid. And I just was like, I don't want that as I said, oh no, this is not it. This is not it. No, this is not it. And so I was glad that I was able to get out of it and have the confidence really to get out of it, because I was so sure that I was going to be the first attorney in my family. And that really was like the thing that was keeping me there. That was the thing that was keeping me on the journey. Along the way, I had found other things that I loved, and I loved serving people, and I loved doing things. And I was helping. By the time I graduated from the University of Miami, I had already helped 300 students get to college. Like that, I was already doing that sort of work, on my own free time with nobody paying me. It's just what I wanted to do. But I would not give time to that, because I had to be the first lawyer in my family. I had to be the one that everybody was going to be proud of in that way. Meanwhile, I'm feeling miserable saying, woe is me, what is this? And how do I get out? And I just made the decision after that conference. I said, I'm not going back, And I called my best friend. I told her, I said, I'm not going back. She said, oh Lord, what you going to tell your parents? And I told my parents. And my dad, I'll never forget it. My father's comment to me was, wow, do I get my daughter back now?
What was meant by that?
And what he was saying was, you have to, it's the nature of the beast to be dog eat dog in law. You would have times where people would be like ripping out pages of other books and things that people are supposed to be reading just so that you didn't get a one up on them. Like it was a very, very ugly world. A lot of people, what you would find is that they would turn to vices, like alcohol or drugs or anything like that, just to keep themselves up in the head. Because you got to understand something. By the time you get to law school and medical school, you're no longer the smartest one in your class. You are amongst the smartest people who have been weeded out to get you to that point. And now they're trying to weed out again to try to get like the best of the best. And sometimes if you don't have another outlet or you don't have anything that you can focus on that you're passionate about, or that you will take failure as really being failure when really you could have just gotten a B, and because it's not high enough, you still get cut. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like you're failing. And so you have to change the way that you see success and failure before you even decide that you're going to go to law school or you decide you're going to go to med school, because now you're going to understand that you're around a bunch of high-strung people who are trying to get ahead of you. And that literally represents your market once you get out. And that just wasn't the world I wanted to be a part of.
I see. Very well. That gives me an insight, because now I'm like, would I
Yeah.
have survived? It's like survival of the fittest.
Yeah, it really is. But medical school is like that too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I got my first set of doctors through. But it's that way too. We thought that medical doctors actually chose their own fields, and they don't. It's compatibility testing.
Oh.
Like you literally take a test and it tells you if you don't reach a certain level on that test, then you can't even apply to be that type of medical doctor. So if you grew up as a child saying, I want to be an anesthesiologist, and you can't pass the test high enough to study anesthesiology, you will not be able to be an anesthesiologist. You would have to be like a cardiovascular doctor or an ER doctor based on where you scored. And nobody was saying that until I literally got my students to med school, and I had to watch them go through this journey.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. So you said two things that I would like to ask you about. The first, you said that you had helped about 200 students get into school while you were in college yourself.
Yep, absolutely. I never took classes on Fridays. I still to this day don't work on Fridays. I just don't do it. So I didn't take classes on Fridays. And what I realized is that I'm the oldest, so there's three of us. There's me, it's my sister, and my little brother. Both of them are taller than me. I'm the shortest one. I'm 5'8" and a half, and I'm still the shortest sibling. I don't even understand how that works. My sister is 6 feet, okay? And then my brother is 6'8", okay? So I'm like the shorty in the house. But but on Fridays, I would go back to Carroll City because I was my Carroll City in high school. And I would go back to Carroll City and help them because as a first generation student that was going to college, what I realized was that there was nobody to help me. We had a CAP advisor, but I mean, she didn't really necessarily do the type of work that I would have liked for her to do. She was actually like, you're not going to UM. Like, you from Carroll City? Like, it was that sort of vibe, right? And so I saw a lot of people. I couldn't get financial aid because of my dad's job. My dad was a police officer, and he used to work for like the FBI and stuff. So income would say that I did not get financial aid. Right. And so I would see all of these students that I was going to school with who would always say to me, I can't go to college because I don't have money. And I'm like, yeah, but that means you're going to get all of the money. So it was kind of like a little insider for me. I was like, honey, y'all don't want to give me money? No problem. I'm going back to my high school and I'm going to rally up all the kids that could get financial aid money that you won't give me. Mm-hmm. And then y'all going to give them. And before I knew it, that was like 300 kids.
Okay, that's beautiful. Like, you do a lot for your community. Where did you get the... Say that again? I couldn't hear you.
No, I just love it. I love to bring up other people, especially those that don't think that they can or don't know that they have the tools that they can do it.
And so is this something that's innate for you, or is this something that you saw someone and then it just catapulted after that?
Man, I wish I could take credit and say that it was innate. I grew up in a very good household. Like, I've watched my parents love and serve the community. But what really changed the game for me was when I was in high school, I had gone to a feeder pattern in Miami, because I don't know if all of the listeners are from Miami, but in Miami, we have feeder patterns for our schools. And so I come from a very privileged feeder pattern, and I used to be like the only Black girl in my class. So I started to develop this idea that maybe I was an anomaly, and maybe Black people honestly just weren't really that smart. And that's just the truth, because they were at my school, but they weren't in my classes. And so I started to develop some sort of a complex against my own people, unfortunately. And it came to terms that because I was pre-law and I wanted to go to law school, I actually went to Miami Carol City for a law magnet. And when I got to Carol City, I really was humbled because I was like, wait, all these Black kids are smart. I got to compete. You know, I graduated from high school with a 5.047 GPA, and I was number 10 in my class.
Wow.
At Carol City. So it was very, very competitive out there. And I really, really got culture shocked. And I was just so proud to be Black and so proud to come from such a rich culture. And I met a young man there. He was on the school board. His name was Dr. Robert B. Ingram. And he took a liking to me. And he said, Genevieve, you're so amazing and you're going to do great things in your life. But you are okay doing well and letting other people that look like you not do well. And that's my problem with you. And I want to invest in you, and I want you to see the world differently. And so he sent me to Africa when I was 17 years old. He sent me to Africa for 2 weeks. And when I came back, my life was very, very different. I felt like all of the privilege got sucked out of me. And I had a desire to give back to those who, especially those who look like me, but those who did not know and didn't have the resources provided to them before that allows you to believe in yourself and to know that you can succeed. So that's really where that came from. It wasn't innate. It came from exposure and someone seeing me and saying, I will be great, but let me show you how to be greater. And I think that that's pretty much what I've committed to now, making sure that other people know that I see what you're doing, but I can show you how to be greater.
I love that. We do have one viewer question from Bernadette. Thank you for watching, Bernadette. Bernadette says, what year did you graduate from Carol City High School?
I graduated from the best year. The best year of Carol City. I'm joking.
She doesn't want to give her age.
I graduated 2006 from Miami Carol City.
All right, Bernadette, there's your answer.
I graduated from the UM in 2009.
Wow. 2006 to 2000. That's only 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. I was so adamant. I was like, I'm graduating early because I want to go to law school. Like, I wanted to. And my best friend from Carol City, he actually had gotten accepted into a program where he was going to be able to do undergraduate 3 years and be able to do law school for 3 years. And so I wanted to do the same thing as him. Unfortunately, he died 4 days before we graduated from high school. And that was another reason why I was holding on to law school, because I felt like he couldn't live the dream, so maybe I should live it for him. But when I got to law school, I was just like, I can't live a dream for anybody else. As much as I loved him and as much as I had to grieve the loss of him and then the loss of the dream that we had to go into law together, I couldn't stay in something that wasn't for me. And so, yeah, it was only 3 years. I graduated with a major and 2 minors, so I couldn't decide what my double major was going to be.
Oh my God, I aspire to. I thought I was great, but when I look at you, I'm like, oh, you can do better.
You are.
Bernadette says, "Oh, a baby." I guess she's calling you. You're young.
What year? I mean, I don't know if you can ask Bernadette what year did she graduate, but I mean, once a chief, always a chief. So we're good on that.
She says that her and her fellow sister Olivia are both watching, and they felt very touched by the story that you just shared.
Oh, thank you. It was like big in our chief circle. Like in 2006, it was huge. As a matter of fact, they named the street after him. It's Jeffrey Johnson.
Aww.
Like his street, they actually named our high school street after him because of that incident. He was shot 4 days before we graduated, and literally it spread like wildfire. It was a huge thing.
Wow. So I want to ask you about your confidence because that's something that you mentioned also. And just speaking to you, I can see it just flows out of you. How do you become so comfortable being just speaking and also being transparent?
Oh my gosh. I'm a woman of faith, and one of the things that I truly believe is that Scripture says that we are overcomers by the blood of the Lamb, and then it says, "And the word of our testimony." And so, for those that are not saved, what that means is that like we can talk to each other, and you can hear where I'm coming from, and feel better about your life and what you can do, and feel like you can overcome just by what I tell you about myself. So I really just don't feel like there's anything off topic in my life, because the stuff that I may want to hide from somebody may be things that they need to hear to do better in their life. So I don't really hide anything, because I feel like anything that I say, if it can be helpful to you, I've done what I need to do. Right. But believe it or not, guys, let me tell you, I used to cry and be the most timid person ever.
Really?
My mother was a public speaker. She was the one that everyone would just love to hear. And I say was not because she's not living, but because now she just tired of speaking. She don't want to speak. She say, "Genevieve, you speak. You do it now." But when I was growing up, she used to be the one. And every single time something would happen, she would want us to sing say a monologue, do some sort of Christmas play. We always had to be in something with drama. And I would just cry every single time. I would cry every time. I didn't want to sing. I didn't want to do nothing in front of people. I would just cry. I would get the worst stage fright ever. And my mother would always, always push me to speak. But honestly, the way that I'm speaking right now, I didn't even start speaking like this until like 11th grade high school. I was every bit of like 17 before I started speaking like this.
And what brought you out of that shell? Because believe it or not, I'm very shy, and it's troubling to speak, not to speak to people, but to really say what I want to say.
Yeah. My dad got called into the ministry when I was like 15. And so when your dad's the pastor now, it's very different going to church. But when your dad is the pastor and now you have to do things like stand up and say announcements, or you have to stand up, you have to welcome everybody, or you have to, at that point, you do start to speak more. And you do start to get into things that I have to do, things like teach Sunday school, Bible study, and those things made me just continue to talk and talk and talk and talk. And before you know it, now it's like it's second nature now, but it wasn't this way. And I didn't really start to get comfortable until about 11th grade.
Really quick, Bernadette says that she's not a chief because she was banned from that school. Bernadette. But she's a Viking class of 92.
Oh boy, she went to Norland. That was my home school though. Norland was my home school. So one time for the Vikings.
For anybody watching, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying on. I just want to let you know that questions and comments are open. So if you have a question for any one of us, especially Miss Genevieve, go ahead and type your question and I will put it up live. Okay. So Renisha, do you have any questions for Miss Genevieve before I go on?
Miss Genevieve, well, I do appreciate seeing you again. I believe we ran into each other in regards to some classes that we were taking at the Urban League, and that's something I wanted to pinpoint on as well. Even though you may have knowledge and we went to college, or that we're out there, we're making that money. But I wanted you to explain how important it is to continue your education, continue learning stuff, because you could always learn something new, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You're so right about that. We actually met each other, like she said. We were actually at a class, even about receiving more funding, and about what is, and for me, even though this is what I do, and I help individuals get money, and I help them write grants, and I help them do those types of things. What I always do is I go to other people's events that are offering the same types of services that I offer. One, because I want to see what they are expressing to others, so that I can know a little bit more about what people are hearing when they come to me. So what are they already hearing? What's out there right now? So I'm always interested in knowing about that. And then I'm also interested in seeing what may be a gap or a hole that may not be filled by what they're saying. Because I don't like to do things that are repeating or redundant. And so sometimes someone may not be able to say everything in 60 minutes or 90 minutes of a class. And if I know that something else needs to be said, and it's my skill set, I can share that. And that's what I did with you all. I can share something that may be able to be even more help and not be competing, right? So I think that you always have to know. By the time you think that you know enough about your field, you're already about to be passed by someone that's still learning. Like, you'll never learn enough about your field. And anyone who thinks that they don't have to learn anything more about their field are setting themselves up for their competitors to pass them. You have to always be learning about your field, always be figuring it out. If you don't have money, go to YouTube University and search away, like search what you can find in your areas. You don't go based on everything that you see on YouTube, but at least it gives you a starting point to know what to research, and do for yourself. Always study. People have said things like, oh, it's COVID-19. There's so much going on. But during this time frame, so many people were offering opportunities. I was able to get into the Cornell University certificate program. They did a program with Bank of America, and I was able to get into a program for entrepreneurship that would have been about $10,000 that I didn't have to pay.
Wow.
During time. And so, but you always have to be looking for opportunities to sharpen your tools. You know what I'm saying? You have to be out there trying to find things and see what's going on. And I was able to go through that certificate program. Literally, I have a certificate from Cornell University, and I didn't have to pay for that. Because I was putting myself in a position to search for things that could make me better. So you are absolutely right about that. Absolutely right. Always search for it. Search for the tools you need. Yeah.
Okay. And would you say it's safe to say that when having a business, and especially on multiple platforms, would you say it's safe to say that each of them should have a different likeness, or how I'm trying to put it is make sure that they're not redundant of each other?
Okay, I'm going to ask you just to flesh it out just a little bit more so I can make sure that I understand. Can you give me an example?
Okay, so if you have multiple businesses, say one is coaching and it's totally separate from your not-for-profit, and then it's separate from something else you may be doing, would you say that each one of those need to be branded?
Right. What I will say is that you can actually start something that's like an umbrella company, right? That's like, okay, so you think about it, for instance, like Coca-Cola or PepsiCo, right? These are two different brands. However, they have all of these other products and all these other entities under them. So if you know that you're going to have a bunch of different things, then you essentially want to have like an umbrella that owns all of it, but they all need to be branded separately in the way that says that Fanta doesn't look like Sprite, doesn't look like Coke, doesn't look like Sierra Mist, doesn't look like all of them, while they are under something, have their own brand, their own taste, their own feel, their own look. And so because of that, if you are going to be doing something like that and you know you have just about a little bit of everything, you want to make sure that these have separate pots that they're going into, because you do not want to mix money together. Your personal money, your business money, and your not-for-profit money do not need to be in the same place. So in that way, you do need to set up separate entities, to make sure that you're able to let your money flow, even if you're getting money from those entities, that is still a separate account, and that it's not like, oh, let me just swipe my business account for my lunch today. You don't want to do that unless it was like a corporate business sort of lunch, but we don't want to see your hot Cheetos, on the business roll. We don't want to see that. That's something that you could have done for yourself. But I think that a lot of us, especially people of color and women, don't really even know that you can go into business and set up things for yourself, especially in the state of Florida. It only costs $125 for you to set up an LLC in the state of Florida. Anything that you're paying more than that is really what you're paying your consultant or whoever is doing that paperwork for you. But if you just, like I said, YouTube University or call someone like myself to lead you through it, you definitely can do it for much less than what you think you can. But you need to be able to separate your things so that you can do things well and be taken seriously.
And to piggyback off that question, if your umbrella is a non-profit organization, but you have entities under that are for profit, how does that work?
Well, okay. This is what we're gonna. Are we gonna have the nonprofit conversation? Let's have the nonprofit conversation. So let's talk about nonprofits for a moment. Now, some people think that nonprofits do not make money. Nonprofits do make money. American Cancer Society CEO makes about $1 million every year. Nonprofits do make money. What it is that when you form the nonprofit, were you forming the nonprofit with the goal being that you were going to make money, or with the goal being that you're going to help society? Now, if you're going to help society, you're able to have a nonprofit. If you want to make money, it's automatically a for-profit company. It's fine, but you still need to have money to be able to make the things twirl, and make things work. So what happens is, in a nonprofit, you have a board of directors. Okay, this board of directors is a group of people who cannot get paid. These are your advisors. They cannot be paid. The CEO can be paid. The workers can be paid, but the board of directors has to be volunteers, right? So what happens is, you may have some fee-based programs, i.e. you'll see this like summer camps or after school where they're charging a fee. They need the money because they need to be able to make the organization keep flowing, right? They can apply for grants. They can apply for different programs that allows for the money to come into the program and allows them to just keep on moving on and on and on. That's completely fine. And as long as the people who have the nonprofit are not using more than 15% of that money to go towards administrative costs, they will be okay. So you can do that. That's why you didn't have a CEO making $1 million. It means that even with him getting $1 million salary, it's still not more than 15% of everything that comes into American Cancer Society, which is why you see nonprofits having fundraisers, why you see nonprofits doing all these things, because they need more money to come in so that they can actually offer competitive rates for jobs to other individuals. Now, the for-profit things, you can have a nonprofit who owns a for-profit, but the truth of the matter is that as long as the nonprofit can do fee-based programs and make sure that they go back into the nonprofit, they never would need to have an LLC because they already have an organization that's doing things. A nonprofit can sell you t-shirts, can sell you concert tickets, can sell you all those things, like sell you food concessions. They can do all of that, but it's going towards the cause. When you look at a for-profit, everything is for profit. So if they never give any donations to the community, they're still going to be okay because the whole goal of them doing whatever it is that they're doing was to make a profit. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So in that respect, nonprofit and LLC are two different ball games.
Yep.
Okay.
You can have profit or you can have a for-profit, and your for-profit, you're either going to have like a partnership, an LLC, which is a limited liability company. People always say limited liability corporation. An LLC is not a corporation; it's a company. It's a company. And you can have a corporation, right? That can either be taxed as a C or an S corp. But you have a corporation who also has a board of directors. But those corporations usually have some sort of stock that they're getting ready to give out to people and pay dividends through and all that type of stuff. And most people, when you start to invest in a company, most times that company is at that point a corporation that now has board meetings and talks about what they're going to do with their stocks and talks about how they're going to pay dividends out to their shareholders and all of that. People that don't want to do all of that, they just want to start a business, want to start a company. Most times the LLC, depending on which state, is going to be best for you.
That's right. Okay. What common advice do you see yourself giving to new business owners?
Love it or leave it. Like, love your business or leave it alone, because there's going to be days where you're not going to make any money. And if you don't love it, then you're going to end up leaving it anyways. So from the jump, if you don't love what you do, let it go now and find something that you actually love that says, even if nobody pays their invoices on time, will I still show up every day? Will I still love my clients? Will I still love what I do? Am I still going to be okay? If I had to put everything for the entire year or the entire first 3 years, would I still have a smile on my face? Would I still be excited every day waking up? Because if you're not going to be excited about it, you might as well keep your job that you hate. What's the point? Like, what's the difference? Like, if you're going to be upset every day with your business, you might as well be upset every day and know you're going to get a check every 2 weeks. That's all I'm saying.
I like that mindset.
Yeah. Like, you might as well, but if you love it, nobody will be able to shake it. Nobody will be able to shake it. Like, Tyler Perry loves his plays, so he can sleep in a car and still be able to do his plays, and still be able to show up every day, still be able to do what he needs to do. Those are people who love what they do, and then eventually it pays off. He's a billionaire now.
Yep, he's a billionaire. You're right.
The billionaire.
Billionaire.
They want to strive for the billionaire vibes, but they don't want the car. They don't want the loneliness. They don't want the tears. They want $1 billion. But the $1 billion didn't come overnight.
Right.
It didn't come overnight.
Never does.
After years of working and loving what you do, and maybe even being laughed at, maybe even being the butt of everybody's jokes, and maybe being misunderstood. But the fact of the matter is, if you know this is what you are supposed to do, and you love it, nobody's going to be able to tell you otherwise. And they're always going to want the success. People always want the success. They never want the process. So you have to be willing to go through the process, go through it, and understand that it's going to be worth it one day. Like, all of these tears are going to be worth it one day. But if you quit or if you never start, you'll never know. So that's my advice. Love it or leave it. And that's going to be the best thing for you to do.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love it.
Do you? Okay. Let me. In our conversation, we had a very brief but very beautiful conversation last night. You said something that touched me, which was, I don't chase money. Even the clients who owe me money, I still call them up every day just to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Where does that mindset come from?
Money is something crazy, right? Like, I tell my husband all the time, money is a tool. It's nothing more, nothing less. If you are not building with money, you're wasting it. There's nothing that you can do by saying, I'm just going to have this money sitting in the corner, right? You can have that money sitting in the corner, and that's great. You'll know exactly where to find it, but it'll never grow. It'll never impact anybody. It'll never do anything but sit in your corner. If you take that same money and say, I'm so glad that I made this. I'm about to pour this into a child. I'm about to pour this into a business. I'm about to pour this into a nonprofit. That nonprofit now is going to be able to take your money, do something with it, and you're going to be able to see something that you never thought you would be able to see before. And so because of that, I don't get attached to money. I've realized over the years that so many people would allow for relationships to crumble over money. Somebody borrowed money and then they couldn't pay it back. I've never given an amount of money away that I actually anticipate getting back. Mm-hmm. It'll be nice if I give it. When people pay me back, I almost feel like it's a gift, like for my birthday. When people pay me back, I'm like, what? This is amazing. And they're like, yeah, but I borrowed this from you. And I'm like, yeah, but if I could not have part ways with that money, I would have never given it to you. So when I give someone money or when I loan someone money, in my mind, it's already gone. Like, I don't even anticipate comment. And so it's the same way. Life changes day to day, to answer your question. Life changes day to day. And sometimes someone could have had the best intentions when they first reached out to you to be your client, when they first decided that they were going to do something with you. And then death happens. And then life happens. And then people lose jobs. And then people get in car accidents, unfortunately. And the monies that they thought were coming aren't coming anymore. So I don't chase it. I feel like it's always going to come back. There's never a time that I give money and I never get money back. It's never a time where that happens. And so because I'm constantly building with what I have, I never chase my money. Like I was sharing with you, like I have a client right now, like he owes me like $7,000. And when I call him, it's never to talk about the money. It's always to be like, so hey, I noticed that you made this post today. I would prefer if you made it like this. I think you should do it like this. How's everything else going? Blah blah blah. And he'll be like, I don't understand how you're still coaching me and I haven't paid you that thing. I'm like, I know your heart's intention when you started. So the fact that you're going through whatever you're going through right now and you haven't been able to pay me, if I truly believe in you as a person, if I truly believe in the work that you're doing enough to coach you, it means that I know the money's coming and you'll always be able to get that back to me. But people always remember the way that you treat them. And if you can start to treat them weird and acting crazy because you don't have a couple $100 or a couple $1,000, then what happens when that person does become Tyler Perry? Do you think they'll share the millions with you? Probably not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a few viewer comments. We have Suli Alma Iman, who gives you the hands up emojis, and she says, let the church say amen. We have Bernadette, who says, I love the way she thinks. You see, this is why we had her on a show. And Suliyama Iman again says, let the money chase you. Money be nipping at my heels, baby. Yes, honey.
Yes. People change for money. And it's like, and I would rather have people, good relationships around me than money any day, because you see a bunch of people have money and work so hard for money and then they realize how empty the feeling is. Mm-hmm. If you can get money and then use that money as a tool to build, it's so much better than just having money and now you don't know what to do with it. Nobody likes you. You have no friends. You don't have a heart of philanthropy. You're not giving back to anybody. You can't see. It means so much to me when I see individuals. Like, I'm 32 years old. Bernadette said I was a baby. I'm 32 years old. And I have students who have graduated from medical school and are delivering babies that didn't know they were going to college or not. That sort of stuff matters to me. That matters to me. Like, I have lawyers and I have architects, and I have all these people who have really, really helped figure out their lives, and now they're able to help other people figure out theirs. They're going to be people, and my mentor used to say this to me all the time. He was like, you know, a tree is never bearing fruit for itself. Like, a tree will never taste the fruit that it bears. The fruit is always for someone else to eat, and for them to decide now, are they going to take seed and plant that and start something else. There's going to be gardens and waves of people who I never will meet that benefited though from fruit in my life. And so it's a cycle. You know, it's not to be corny, but you say kids will watch this. It's literally like living out the circle of life. You understand that you're here today, but if you don't figure out why you're here and what you're supposed to be contributing to other people, you can have all the money you want to, all the money Mondays you want to have. But if you don't have impact tied to that money, it'll die with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell it, sister. Tell it.
I'm just like, preach to me.
Yes.
Impact. And that money goes. There's a bunch of people who have
a legacy at the end of the day. Leaving that legacy, leaving people don't understand that sometimes just your name being out there is more powerful than that money. Your name, think about it. Martin Luther King. Every time we say his name, we're not putting money there. Malcolm X, we're not putting money there. Harriet Tubman, we're not putting money there. But it's the name. It lives on. And it's living on in all our children to the point that the school they can't even deny they have to teach it.
Exactly.
So a legacy, it lives longer than that paper because it changes. At one point, it was one color, now it's green, now it got a line in it, and soon it's going to just a Bitcoin, or a virtual card. And then next thing you know, it's going to be a chip in our hands. So, the money really is not it at the end of the day. Yes, we want things. Yes, we want nice things. Yes, we want a nice house, but we can't live our lives for it.
Yeah. No.
And sooner we realize that, that's when everything starts to fall into place for us. And, we just have to trust the process.
Absolutely.
Trust the process and understand.
Absolutely.
My husband likes
because I tell people all the time, it's like, I have friends that have played like in the NBA and in the NFL, and they have a lot of money. that they blow through, you know, and they don't have anything to show for all the money that they've blown through. And so for me, every dollar has to count. Like every single dollar has to count. Like, what am I doing with it? I have a rule. This is Money Monday, so I'll make sure that I'm talking about how I deal with money. When I spend money, I have to make that money back in 2 weeks, or I'm not making a purchase. That's something for me. Like, if I don't care, if my husband, he's fine. Like, if I have to buy something, I want to buy something, he's completely fine, because the rule is that if money is spent, it has to come back in 2 weeks. Okay. So if you're not going to do what you need to do to get the money back in 2 weeks, don't spend it.
Can you give us an example of how the money has come back to you in 2 weeks?
Oh, absolutely. So I consult. I do a lot of consulting. I help people start their businesses. I help them start their nonprofits and things like that. So if I'm making a purchase, and let's just say, for instance, it's like a $2,000 purchase or something like that, then for me, and that's why I think that I always tell people, know your numbers, know what your prices are and what you're doing with and for individuals. I know for a fact that if I am setting up a nonprofit, or if I'm setting up a company, that is going to cost normally about like $500. So for me, like for me to consult them and go through that process with them. So for me, if I just made a $2,000 purchase, the second thought in my mind is that I need between 4 to 5 clients this week. Mm-hmm. That means either I'm going to be posting a status, I'm going to be making phone calls, I'm going to be doing what it is that I need to do, because I need to cover that purchase that I just made. And so then it'll come back in that way. Okay. But product and services, I tell people, if you're already in service-based business, then you need to start creating products. And if you're already in a product-based company, then you need to start creating services. So you need to have both operating for you at the same time.
I love you so much. Listen, what availability did you have this week? Because I need an appointment with you.
Vacation this week. My husband told me, he said, no, honey, you've been doing a lot. So I'm on vacation this week. But the week after, I definitely will be open to have a conversation with whoever. Because you really do. And I think it's important for us on Mondays to say that, too. You need self-care days. And if you're working really, really hard, you know, you got to take some time to just breathe a little bit, because it doesn't matter how much money you have if you're not here to enjoy it. So make sure you're taking like your self-care days. But to answer your question, honey, we can talk next week.
Enjoy your vacation. I tell people that all the time. You are only as good to others as you are to yourself. So if you run yourself down in the ground, you won't be able to help anybody else. I say that all the time. Yes. We have a few viewer comments, so let me pin over. Bernadette says, where has she been? We need her on our team. Brian C. Harris says, exactly, and he gave us an example of his own. He says, example would be spending $2,000 to invest in the business, and because of the exposure it's given the business, more clients have signed up and paid their invoices. Absolutely, Brian. Thank you for that, and thank you for watching. I want to ask, say that one more time because I didn't hear you.
So I'm glad he's watching. Good job, baby.
Oh, that's your husband? Oh, come on.
That's called teamwork.
That's not way to go, baby. That's a great answer.
Well, thank you anyway, Brian, even though you're cheating just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
So, of course, this is Money Mondays. I have to ask, besides the services that you already provide, is there anything else that you do for supplement? Do you do trading, stocks, anything else?
You know, I don't. What I've been actually looking into is trying to develop something where I can kind of teach people how to invest in a person, and then kind of sort of give them some dividend-like feedback, you know. So that's something I'm working on right now. I'm trying to see like how I can get people to give, even investing, and let's say they want to invest in me per se, and it's not like sacrilegious or me just trying to get more money, but I want people not to have the fear of investing. And sometimes if they know you and they know what you're doing, they'll trust it a little bit more than saying, oh, okay, I'm just gonna go and invest in Disney, and then the stock crashes tomorrow and they're like, oh my God, where's my money? Right. So I'm trying to get people to invest. I'm getting into trading, like day trading. I think I just want to do it for the heck of it right now, especially because most of the stock is so low with the economy right now. I'm actually looking into like day trading and doing things like that. But I'm always looking for how to flip a dollar into two. That's always my thing. I told you yesterday, like I don't mind falling on the sword if it means that I can learn a skill set, or if I can learn something that I can teach to others. But the biggest things that I do, like I was saying, with the services, it's the services and the products. Those are my biggest things. I consult. I'll write an ebook in a minute. I will do group coaching in a minute. So there's so many ways. Another thing that I do, because I'm such a creative, I actually make like bling shirts and mugs. I don't have any of those here next to me, but I make bling shirts and mugs because I just love, like with pageantry, I just love rhinestone apparel and things. And so people usually come to me and ask me to make mugs for their companies, make mugs for their businesses. And I don't mind sharing that with you guys. It may cost me about $4 to make a mug, and I sell mugs for $20. So you do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Now pour it in everything that I need to pour into to replicate it. That's why I said, go ahead, invest what you need to, so that you can have lesser investments later, and then you just go from there.
So
my husband's so funny. He's like, oh no, I have one.
I knew it. I knew he was gonna come and give you one. Aww.
Yep. He literally just came from the body.
And
but I did that for his mother for Mother's Day, and all of those are like pictures of her, and then it says mom, and that's all of their pictures meshed in there. So that's like I just do a bunch of things. So that's it. That's why I said, do what makes you money, but always do what you love. And the consulting and seeing people win, I love that. Yes. But more than loving that is making crafts and doing things like that people pay me for. So that's definitely what I do. Mm-hmm.
So we have a few comments from the audience. Bernadette says about your husband, she says, that's sweet. He's very supportive. She loves that. Miss Suliama says, visit at the Landstronaut on IG. She has a series called Stocks and Coffee. She's already made me about $400 with her stock tips. Ooh. And also, Bernadette says, how much for the cup?
$20. If you want to buy it through me, it's $25 because I have to make profit.
You gotta upsell. You gotta upsell some. You gotta upsell.
With that being said, I don't know if you guys remember, but a few weeks ago I had Marta Cunningham from My Econ talk to us about trading and stuff. And My Econ is a platform that's created to overall help your finances. So they have I don't remember what it's called, a tracker that will track for business, that will track for personal. They have a whole bunch of things. And when you sign up for My Econ, you also get the trading class for free. So I've actually just done that myself, and mine is blown. So I recommend that to everyone.
Yeah.
And say that again.
I think you have to send that to me so I can look into it.
I will. The best part about it is a subscription-based service, but guess what? It's only $34 a month. Can you believe that? So you get all of that for $34. They're literally teaching you how to change your finances forever. So I will send you the link for that, and I'll also put the link in the description if anybody else is interested. Now, I want to ask you this. Mm-hmm. When it comes to pricing, what is your strategy for setting pricing, and how do you stick to your pricing?
Okay, just remember that you asked this question. Okay, let's just set that up real quick. Let's just say, okay, no, seriously. So Depending on what it is that you're doing, let's just say that I'm going to do one for products and one for services. Okay. So let's say, for instance, that I'm doing the t-shirts. The way that I set my pricing, number one is I look to see what are other people charging for t-shirts, right? In the market. What's the first thing? Because one of the worst things you can do is just start pricing under market value. And now people are saying, that's a really nice shirt, but why is this cheaper? And they automatically will start to think that you are using cheaper products and that you are not able to provide a quality of service that the more expensive brand is offering. So you need to know about a range of which they are charging. So let's say, for instance, that someone is charging $34 for a shirt, which they do. $34 for a shirt. You would say, now, do I feel comfortable charging $34 for a shirt? What am I doing differently than they are doing? If you're doing something quite identical to quality and style, then you need to stay at the 34. Because I try to get people to understand that what you don't need to do is say, oh, well, this is my first time doing this. Okay. And if Shaq made a shirt today and it was his first shirt that he ever made, he would not say, oh, because it's my first shirt, I'm going to charge $10 for it. He wouldn't do that. You have to understand that when you come into this stream of marketing and you come into this stream of business, sometimes people could have been in business for years and years and years, and they're just finding out, like you're just finding out about their business. So if I just started today, or if I started 20 years ago, and this is just the first time that you heard me, regardless, that's the first time that you've heard my name. So you might as well hear me at the price that's going to be best service for me. So I do that. I check the materials that I'm using, and I make sure that I can at least double what it is that I paid into the work. So if the shirt costs me $12 to make, I have to charge $24 at least.
Okay.
That I can throw back into the production of another shirt, and I can still have the $12 profit, right? So look at your market and then make sure that you're at least making twice as much, like a double what you paid into that. That's like a rule of thumb for me when it's product based. Okay. Now, when you are making something like a book, or you're making like an ebook, or you're making some sort of planner, or you're making some sort of product like that, which is going to have a very, very, very low cost, because when you publish, even through Amazon, when you publish, your author copies are going to be less than $5, right? But the book itself may be like $20, $25, $34. It's because you are pricing based on what you feel the book is worth, right? It doesn't even matter if it's not a lot of pages. If you can take my information and turn around and make money from it, it was worth something. It was valuable to you, right? Think about it like a CD-ROM. What if I put all of my best tools on a CD-ROM, and the CD-ROM itself cost me 10 cents, but all of my information is going to help you make $1,000 this week? What if I charge $500 for that disc? Would you pay for it?
Absolutely.
You pay for it because you understand the value associated with what I put on something that may not cost you much. So that's where you have to look at it when it comes to product. When it comes to your services, it's merely based on your time and how much you value your time. Do not pay attention to people saying that's too much money. If they think it's too much money, they're not the client. And you need to find out who your target market is, because your target market will tell you it's too low, and the people out of your target market will tell you it's too much. They'll say that's how you'll know. You'll know who your target market is, because the people say it's only that I thought it was going to be, that's your target market. The people who are saying, oh my God, that's just too much money, I just can't, oh no, I can't. You say, okay, that's good, but I don't know who you're going to find that's going to give you a better quality of service than me, but I really do hope that you can find that person. I wish you all the best. And I just not, but I'm not going to share my price point, because whatever it is that I'm quoting you the best value. This is how I'm going to be able to do my best work, and this is what you're going to be able to get. When you start negotiating what your price points are, and I'm not saying that you have no negotiations at all, but what I'm saying is you should already have numbers that you're willing to negotiate. What I'm speaking to right now is when somebody has gotten you to the point that you are now questioning what your prices are because they don't want to pay what you said it was. That means they are not charging market. Do not.
So
Find a
that
reason. Even if they pay you, sorry, Alexis, even if they pay you, they're going to be one of the worst clients that you ever had. So you shouldn't do it.
I'm going through a situation that's a little bit similar to that. But that's all the time we have for the live. There's so many questions. There's so many questions.
Out. I did want to give out some information for those who are needing help with the COVID-19 situation.
Okay.
Some agencies that are providing funding if funding is still available.
Okay. My laptop is dying, so while you're doing that, excuse me, but I'm gonna get up and go get my charger so that we don't disconnect. But go ahead.
All right. So if for those who may have cancer, the Colon Cancer Alliance, they're offering COVID-19 response program right now where they're helping to pay for food, they're helping to pay for housing and utilities as well as transportation, disease screening, financial assistance, and helping for childcare. They are open right now from 8 to 5. The best way of contacting them will be, just bear with me, their telephone number is 877-422-2030, and they're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. And then one more agency that's out there that's available to help is the LIHEAP program. Because of COVID-19, they're willing to go up to $900. We all know how the song and dance goes with them. But it's still an opportunity to maybe get that light bill paid if you're not receiving unemployment at this time. Their number is 954-357-6367, and that will be helping with your utilities, and it helps families, low-income families, any adult over 18. And those are my 2 tips for today of places that are going to assist. Now, Ms. Genevieve, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to come on this show, speak with us, share that sweet energy.
I told y'all she was a powerhouse
for us.
I absolutely love being here. Absolutely. And if anybody wants to send me an email, I know that we didn't talk about that, but they can literally send an email to support@builtbygen, like built BUILT, builtbygen.com. Just if you say, hey, I was on the show today, I liked it. If they have any other questions, I'm so open.
I went ahead and put that on the screen for anybody. Support at builtbygen.com. We have Diane Absolute. She was a previous guest. Hi, my love. Absolutely. She said you were awesome, and I think we all share the same sentiments. Again, I want to thank you so much. You are amazing. This has actually been the most interactive live that we've had, the most people, most viewership, most everything. So that you're awesome.
Yes, she brought that miracle energy over here. Thank you, sweetie.
My list of questions, I didn't get to ask you all of them. So if you would love to come back on the show, in a month or so,
invite me. I'll come back. I love it. I think this is great, and you guys are doing a great job. So I would love to support you again. You let me know.
Thank you.
All right,
awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and end the live, but please stay on the call so we can talk afterwards. Everybody else, this was awesome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your continued support. If you support Money Mondays, if you ever need to email me to get in touch with anybody or just have any questions, or if you have any suggestions, you can email us at moremoneymondays@gmail.com. Again, moremoneymondays@gmail.com. And we'll see you on Monday. Bye.